lecture 1 and lecture 2. I had started repertory series with the lecture 1. In that we have learned introductions and the anatomical aspect of repertory. Okay. So in that we have learned the chapter from mind, what is the important aspect, and the up to the generality. So in second lecture what we have learned that when we go through the reading of repertory, so repertory tells us something about the mind rubrics, which we have given a more important according to the Kantian method. So Kant has given the mental is more important than the physical. So from that point of view, we have learned the rubric in a different segment, that some rubric are of expressive way, some rubric are of non-expressive way, some rubric are subjective, some rubric are objective, some are obvious and some are concealed. So we have learned in last lecture. Now go beyond that understanding of our rubric. So we have to correlate this rubric. See what Master Hahnemann has mentioned in the aphorism number 5, that you need to treat the persons. You need to have the knowledge of disease, aphorism number 3, knowledge of medicine and application of the knowledge of medicine to the diseased individual. Aphorism number 5, what Master has said, that when you need to treat a certain kind of disease like acute, you need an exciting cause. And when you need to treat a chronic disease, you need a fundamental cause, and that is nothing but a miasm. And what Master Hahnemann has said in 1828, that the discovery of miasm is the discovery of homeopathy up till now, because without the miasm, homeopathy cannot be considered. So we have to understand the rubric and the correlations of the miasm. Why the need of this topic in the repertory is because when we are treating certain kind of disease and we have a lot of symptom totality, what we have understood in the repertorial way, that when the patient comes to us, patient gives a lot of history, and out of that we have to evaluate certain rubrics, evaluate the symptoms of that. And when you are doing evaluating that certain rubrics or a certain symptoms of the set of the patients which patient provide us, so from that we have to understand which is the highest importance. Okay. So when we have the keystone, that is a miasm, then we can rule that this is the most important rubric in the particular case. If we don't understand the miasm in a particular way, then we are in a form of chaotic totality, and that chaotic totality ends into no results. So that is what the need of this topic today, that we have to see. Up till now we have understood that the repertory, how it is built, and the rubric we have understood according to this is something like this is obvious, this is subjective, this is. Then we have to understand a deeper version of certain rubric, that this rubric is belongs to this miasmatic totality. So when you need to treat so say for example a psychotic disease, and you are taking a Soric miasmatic rubric, then this is not going to help you in your case. For Sir always says, when you are treating a syphilitic disorders and you are taking a Soric rubric into consideration, it will not going to help you in your case. So same way, it is our need to understand rubric and its miasm, so that we can able to treat a deeper version of the disease, what Master Hahnemann has mentioned to us. And this is what I learned from Dr. Vijayakar sir, that sir has always used the highest grade of syphilis or the higher version of the miasm. Say for example, if we treat a Soric disease, sir always says go for the psychosis. Pick up certain rubric from the psychosis, enter into it and prescribe. If you have a psychotic disease, go for the syphilis, pick up syphilis and then prescribe. And if you have a syphilis, go for the higher syphilis, pick up it and prescribe, so that the result ratio will be improved. So to understand this process, I need to give you a brief about the miasmatic aspect, initial days, in this today's sessions of understanding. So I am giving you a brief of the miasm, what miasm it is, and after that I am going to tell you about a certain set of symptoms which are of a soric miasm, certain set of symptoms of the mind which are of the psychotic, and certain set of symptoms which are of the syphilitic. So this is what a broad outline of this today's session. In the next session we are going to a deeper version, that when you find a certain symptoms, then these symptoms evolve into this miasmatic way. So this is what we are going in the next session. So today's topic, we have to understand miasm. Now what is miasm? The most controversial and most and least understood topic in the field of homeopathy is miasm. But miasm is nothing but what Dr. Gohel has mentioned, that it is a defense mechanism, and why this defense mechanism is a need. So we have to understand the man, and what is that man is that. So we need to understand the man and why man has a defense. So just remember, everyone need to live. See, those who born, they need to live, and for the purpose of living, the journey is going on, and this journey is continued toward the end of life. So life and end of life. So in between this process of life and end of life, which we call as a death, what matter is that the way I need to fight back. See, to continue, this journey is continued toward the death. So those, Sora always says, the law of thermodynamics also says that something is born, it is going to die. Okay. So same way our life is a journey which continue toward the death. And what is the important matter is the way I fight back. So that most of the individual who evolve from the unicellular to the multicellular human behavior, in that behavioral pattern, every cell has a certain pattern of the development to fight back and to survive. And that is what the Dr. Darwin has said, Charles Darwin has said, that survival of the fittest. Those who are the fit, they can survive. And if they can survive, they need to fight. So if I need to survive, I need to fight back. And that is what the journey is. So survival of the fittest is the prime most important for the every human being, the cellular living being, because this is the fight back mechanism, and that is the defense mechanism has started. So every cell has a three mechanism. The first mechanism is the survival of the self. That means I need to survive, I need to be fit to survive in the environment which I am living. Okay. The second mechanism, if I survive in a better way, then what happens? The things which I learn from the environment, I need to pass these things to my progeny, and for that I need to reproduce. The second law of the cell. And the third, the things which I have learned and gathered and I have passed to my progeny, then the hostility is always continue to harm them. So I need to define in a certain way, and that is what I need to find. So these are the three basic cell's functions. So same way our mind also evolved, and mind also first the foremost criteria is to survive, and then I need to reproduce something, and then if it is not protecting myself and my species, then I need to fight back, I need to defend, and that is what the miasmatic journey from the Sora, Psychosis and the Syphilis. So in order to survive, so different persons will fight back differently, and that is called the individuality. So our prime most important, what Master Hahnemann has said, that the importance of prescribing is the individualizations, and that is what every person has a different defense mechanism. So we need to categorize each and every defense mechanism to understand that, and after that we need to find that this individual always fight in certain way. Say for example, if I am well versed in using gun, okay, and I am a soldier, so if I need to fight from the invaders which comes into the border, so if someone is giving me sword or a stick, I cannot survive that because I am well versed in that things, you know. And someone in the village, they are well versed in using sticks, so they have to fight with the sticks and everything, and that individual is given the gun. How can they survive? They are using gun as a stick. Okay, so same way every individual is having a different fight back mechanism, so that the tool which we are using as a remedy has also the same. If an individual is defending with the stick and we are providing them with the gun, does that individual work? The same way, if the person is fighting with the soric defense mechanism and we are providing the syphilitic remedy, it cannot help. Or if the person is in a syphilitic defense mechanism and we are providing a stick like a soric defense, it will not help. So that is what we need to understand, the individuality, that every person, to survive, every person has a different fight back mechanism, and that is called individuality. So what is the makeup of the man? So makeup of the man is what we have understood by Dr. Vijayakar has said, that genetic makeup of the man is made up of three things: the mental general, physical general, and the particulars. Okay, so in that also we have to understand what is the most important, and that is that man is made up of emotions, will, intellect, moral, and the sensitivity, and the physical structure. So this is what the makeup of the man. This is the individuality. So everywhere the individual is defending in a different pattern. Okay. So when the individual emotionally defend in a certain pattern, so for example, if it is in a soric state, the emotion is a different. If it is in a psychotic state, the emotion is also different. And if it is in a syphilitic state, the emotion is a different. So same way, every aspect, the moral, intellect, and the sensitivity, all is dividing the individual in a different category of the miasmatic aspect. Are you getting me? So this is what we have to understand, the makeup of the man. Now, what is the miasm? So from that point of view, we have understood the miasm is just nothing but a defense mechanism of the constitution to survive in the better way. So if constitution has to survive, has to live, so he has to make certain evolutionary process at the level of psychology as well as at the level of the body to defend, and that is what they have. For survival, what is the need? See, every individual has survival, and there is certain need is there. So the need is basic thing we have to understood. So I had given the lecture on the need in Happy Gujarat platform. You will go through that need. So from that you can understand what is the basic need of the physical aspect is the air, water, and food, and the mental aspect is the love, support, and esteem. So when this need is something that I need to survive, and a need is compromised somewhere. So what the individual started doing when the need is compromised in the initial level, so individual try to adapt to that situations, and that is what the individual is going to have the process called adaptations. So for example, a female married to a guy and they had to go to some other place, like an in-laws place. So what they started, so the environment what she lived in their mother place and the environment in the in-laws place are the different. But the disease does not start from that, you know. She has to adjust herself in the in-laws place by making the changes in their pattern of learning. Like they have to learn the cooking, they have to learn the way they living, they have to learn something that they adapt to the in-laws places. Okay, and when these things is not going to happen, then they started making something different process, and that is what the shift of our miasmatic process. So adaptation is the most important. So if a need is compromised, the first constitutions start to adapt. Up till now adaptations, there is no need of any remedies, because this is our developmental evolutionary process that we have to survive by just making a little changes, and that is called the changes of biochemistry or a changes of a psychological development. So that is the adaptation. In that adaptation, we didn't need any remedies. Okay, but what happened? She used to say that lady, after getting married, she used to adapt according to the environment, but the adaptation failed. So she started to defend for their own survival, and the defend is a different process. So this is what a defend is, making just physiological changes or at psychological or neurochemical changes, and that is what they started behaving in a different pattern. So in a soric way, like a reaction that she cannot survive. So she started weeping, she started having grief, she started having then what happened, initially the emotions flow out, so either irritability, either weeping and everything, but that doesn't help her. So what we started saying nothing. So she goes into shell, she become introverted kind, and she started showing not showing their inner feelings, and then goes into sadness or the grief and everything. And what happened again, this does not need to be fulfilled. So what happened, to survive myself I need to defend, and she throw herself into stage of rage, she throw herself into stage of the hysterical behavior, she throw herself into state of out of control, certain emotional outburst, and that is what the survival mechanism based on. So we need to understand this, the evolutionary miasmatic state of each and every individuals, how they behave, and if the behavior up till now adaptations, no need to prescribe. So for example, the obedient child, the child become obedient. Up till now obedience, okay, fine. But when this child become disobedient, that means the adaptation has failed. So what we have understood, in a childhood very obedient and diligent, but after a certain stage of their life, they started behaving in disobedience, and they started behaving a cunningness, or they started behaving a slyness or deceitfulness, and that is what the shifting of miasm, and that we need to understand that the person is defending in a different category. So this is what we have to understand, the psychological aspect of individual. Now the physical need. So every child is born out of the mother womb. So up till now into the mother womb there is no need, because mother has fulfilled all the need. Okay. So all the nutritions it require, all the eliminations it require, everything is possible into the mother womb. But when the child is come out from the canal, what happened? So initially the canal is, initially the contraction has started. The contraction has started, that means it is producing a certain kind of, the environment has been changed into the state, and that is what the child is behaving, that I need to survive, I need to adjust this thing. So child started getting anxious when the contraction has started. Okay. This contraction is going to happen and the cervix is little bit open, so child is seeing from the womb to the outside world, and that canal, so child is fearing that how I am this much big and how I can pass through this small canal. So child's anxiety goes into state of very fearful process, and in that fearful process child feels that how I can survive, how I can pass through this. This is a very narrow canal. So this is what the fear has adapted. When this child is passed through this canal, so in that state of the pass through that canal, child is very shocked, because the inner world is very comfortable. When the child is in the womb of the mother, there is everything is comfort, and the outside world is very discomforting. So in that phase of discomfortment, child goes into state of panic and shock, and that panic starts, and the child comes out and started crying, and that is the first need, that the air is being inhaled and the lungs started inflating. So this is what the basic need is, air. From that, after the air, the respiration has been started, child feels that I need to survive, I need to survive, I need to survive. So they need to have the food, and in food in terms of the water and the food. So that is what the child is put the breast milk. No need to teach them how to suck. Even the child comes out, suddenly they search for the mother nipples and started sucking. So this is what the survival mechanism that they have the physical need. If this need is not fulfilled, and that is what going to develop a syphilitic state or a psychotic state into the child. So same way, that is what the physical need. And the mental need is something called as a love, support and esteem. So to understand this need, we need to understand the hierarchy of the Abraham Maslow's hierarchy. In that, Abraham Maslow says that the basic need of the every individual at the psychological level is to be the loved, to be cared, to be loved, and the basic need is love. So when this need is taken care, say for example the child born, after that the physical need is fulfilled. Now what child need? Child need to be taken care by the mother. So always child has to be kept in the kangaroo care, with the very near to the mother, so that the child has a warmth, care and nurture and everything. So that is what the basic need of the love. Child need to be carried, so they are to be supported in a very form, very easy form, and they are to put into cradles and everything. So they are to be in the supported. So this is what the evolutionary need of the psychology. When this need is not fulfilled, what happened? Child started adapting to situations initially, and the adaptations has failed. They started defending in the different miasmatic background. And when the child is grown out of certain 5-6 years of age, nowadays every mother or every parent started behaving that my child to be a very best. So they need to be recognized. So that recognitions or the respect of the child is based on their performance, and that performance that most of the parents put their children into dance academy, put their children into some extracurricular activities like skating, sports and everything, and that they started behaving that this child to be recognized, and that is what their esteem need has been started in a very early age. If this cannot be fulfilled, the child may feel that I cannot be appreciated, and that is what the adaptation started initially, and that adaptation goes into shift of miasmatic process. Hope you got the basic idea about the needs and the miasmatic shift. So every person is defending in the three way, either in a Sora, in the form of physiology, it is called as an inflammation or a disease process. See, up till now we have learned that the adaptations. So adaptation is happening, okay. No disease is happening. But adaptation has failed, then it is the bringing of the Sora. At the physical level, it produces inflammation or a disease. So most of time in the psoric disease, we need to find out certain ailments. Say for example, when child goes to the school, and in a school, a child has done some mischief with some guy or a peers, and the teacher has scolded that child. Because of no reason, the teacher has scolded that child, and child came home. After that, child got fever or child got something. So this is what something that their Sora getting hurt, their need getting hurt. I had not done any mistake, and in spite of that, the teacher has scolded me. So ailment from being admonition, or ailment from being scolded. Or sometimes the child has a fear of punishment, that if you are not doing this thing, the punishment has started. So this is something that the inflammation has started. So what the inflammation has started, the child is behaving, the Sora constitute defined in the physiological. So they started adjusting by the physiology. So in the physiology they started inflammations. So same way the psychological level also the physiology has changed. So what the physiology changed in the psychology, that the neurochemical has been changed. So most of the emotional upset happening into the child. So child came home with the sad look, child came home with the angry look, child came home with the weeping looks and everything. So this is something that emotional has been in the form of waves by changing the neurotransmitter physiological. This is something called as a Soric defense. If it is not taken care, or if it happen again and again and again and again and again, then what happened? The second defense has been started as a psychosis, and psychosis is something called as they are started that they have first the fear of the first that they have the scolding, and that scolding goes in the fear of punishment, that she might punish me or teacher might punish me, and that is what fear of punishment lead to the fortification. So what the child is doing, child become very obedient and diligent. Why? It is not the genetically obedient and diligent, but it is something that the situation makes that child to become obedient and diligent because of fear of punishment, and that you should need to differentiate from the genetically obedient or it is adapted because of certain reason. So this is what fortifying. So most of time they are doing constructive mechanism and they started in the form of fortifying. So fortifying means that I need to make myself in the different projections. Something which I am is my lacking, I need to project something that nobody knows my weakness, and that is what psychosis. So psychosis is something for the projections. By showing a growth, by showing a multiplication, by showing a facade. Nowadays the era of the facade. You know, most of the buildings are covered with the lots of the facade frame, and outside you look, oh wow, that's good building. But when you go inside, the building was very old. But you look from outside, it looks very good. So same thing, the psychosis is like this. Internally, they have a feeling of fear. Internally, they have the fragile feelings, and outside they shows that I am a big one. I am a good one. So this is what they are fortifying. So the child become obedient and diligent. You know, the mischievous child initially, due to fear of punishment, started behaving like that I am very diligent and obedient. No, this is something called as psychosis. So most of time the psychotic constitution defined by the construction. So they have to be construction. So they have to be construction in the terms of the creativity also. So most of time to get the appreciation from the teacher, they started making paintings, they started taking parts in the extracurricular activity, they started having eloquent process, or this is what they are goes into defense of the construction. So they become more creative out of it. Okay. When this is also not going to happen, the constitutions is defined in the different way. It is called as the syphilis, and in the syphilis the destruction has started. So when we have to understand destruction has started at a particular level, so in that process what we have to understand, when we understand the man, so man is composed of the emotion, will, intellect, moral, sensitivity and physical structure. So same way everywhere the destruction has been started. Now we have to understand the same example, the mischievous child. Initially it is sensitive to admonitions, it goes into fear of punishment, then he becomes very diligent and obedient. Now this mischievous child has not adapted to the psychotic miasm also, it goes into syphilitic state. Now mischief started again. So what they do, the mischievousness been increasing out of control. They started putting pin below the chair of the teachers, they started mischieving others, and that is what they are harming others. Now they have no fear of being punished. They become very, very fearless. They become very, very mischievous and destructive. So this is what something we have to understand, that the syphilitic constitution is defined by the destruction. So their emotion goes out of control, their emotion goes destruction. Fear goes destructed. What happened? Fearlessness. Initially anxiety goes into fear goes into panic in exaggerated form, the panic goes into anguish goes into state of destructions of the fear. That is called fearlessness. So this is what in the next session we are going to evolutions of the emotion. Each and every emotion goes into this different criteria. So this is why I am making a basic format, because if you understand this process at the repertory language, then you can treat a certain disease with the ease. that when you have a syphilitic disorders and you are taking a very soric rubric, you always convince that it is not going to help. So you have to be like this. So here I have given the corollary from the Sora to development of the physiological changes, and then physiology cannot taken care, goes into psychosis or growth, and then into destruction. So this is what the physiological level, this is what a structural level at the body, and at the mental level we are going to deal now. Now, how to select the right simillimum to the demon? So what is the need of this all these things is, it is very easy and simple to select the right remedy. Sir always says, I used to learn from the Vijayakar sir. Sir always says homeopathy is very easy, and we laugh and chuckles that how sir is saying that it is very easy. The same way I am presenting to you, you all will laugh, and how sir it is very easy, because it is too complicated. So the law is that difficult is very simple. The law is, when anything is very difficult, it is very simple to crack. But it is our equations and our mathematics has to be matched with that. If we have that equations and mathematics, then it becomes so easy. So same way I am going to give you a thought process of equation, that if you understand the miasm with the rubric, then equation become very easy and you have to treat in an easy and simple way. That's why the word is written that it is very simple. So patient depends on the mental plane. So every time what I have given example is the patient is depending on the mental plane, patient is depending on the physical plane, patient is depending on the general plane, etc., etc. That is the mental makeup, physical makeup, or the general makeup, and the disease makeup, all arising from the genetic code. So foremost we have to understand the genetic code, how the person is behave, how the behavior and attitude of the person in front of us when they come with certain disease. Okay. In the soric disease they have certain different attitude and behavior pattern. In a psychotic disease they have a different behavior and attitude pattern. And the syphilitic state they have a different behavior and attitude pattern. So the genetic code which should speak the same language of the defense or the miasm. So what if the body is speaking psychosis, so same way the mind, mental plane also speaking the same language. Sir always says body and the mind speak the same language. Okay, or the mind is ahead of the body. So if the body is in psychosis, you need to search for the syphilis from the mind, because mind is ahead of the body. It speaks the same language. Why? Because it is all governed by the genetic code. So genetic code is deciding that it is our physical plane as well as our mental plane. So same thing is happening in this process. So defense mechanism is nothing but it's a miasm. Are you getting me? So what Sir says, if a disease is syphilitic, we cannot take a soric mental for deciding the simillimum. We are here to make homeopathy easy and simple. That is what my aim, and that is what to understand this rubric in terms of miasm. So Sir always says, if the disease is syphilitic, don't take soric mental symptom. Say for example, anxiety. Don't take anxiety when the disease is syphilitic. Okay. So for deciding the simillimum, we have to match with the same thing. What I have given an example, that if the person is well versed in the gun and you are giving a stick to them, how they can fight? You know. So same thing, to deciding the simillimum, we have to pick up the same defense mechanism at the level of psyche, and the rubric which we belongs to, it is from the same miasmatic defense mechanism. Okay. So how Sora represent at the level of, up till now, see, all these things has written in Sir's book. You have to go through the third book of the Sir, End of Miasmation. In that you can understand the physical aspect of the miasm, and followed by you can understand the entering into mind of the cell, that the mental aspect of the miasm. I am not going into detail of each and everything, but I am just highlighting certain point, and that help into practice, that this rubric is belong to certain miasm. So I need to treat the persons according to their miasmatic background. So if I am treating a certain soric disease, I need to pick up a Sora or psychotic disorders, psychotic rubrics. Okay, higher version. Same way in a vice versa in a psychosis and syphilis. So Sora represented the level of the mind, What is that Sora? The Sora represent as a need, the soric need, and the soric need is something called as a love, support and esteem. So by history of the patient, we have to understand that this person's the basic need is love. Say for example, phosphorus. If we learn the phosphorus, we have a rubric: affectionate, wants, return affections. That was the rubric we have in the repertory, and that rubric suggests that this remedy is very, very loving, caring, and full of care of others and self. And in return also they want the love. So that is what their basic need is, love. Say for example, silica. Silica has the need that I need to have a good image in the society. They are moreover image conscious. So here the need is love as well as that respect has to be maintained. So esteem is there in silica. Okay. The rubric was like something that a child, why the love? Because the rubric was like that the child hold the mother's hand, clinging to mother. That means the mother is what? Mother is giving the love, care and protections. So Silicia's basic need is love. Okay. So same way each and every remedy from that rubric, we have to understand that their need is something like this. Say for example, calcarea. So in calcarea, when we read from the Materia Medica, we can understand that the calcarea has the basic need to be supported. They want shell. They want to have to be with the family. They want to have in the cover of home. They want to have in the support of the person. Because with that support they can evolve. Without that support they can't. So that is what their basic need is, something like this. But when you go to the syphilitic aspect of the calcarea, there is one rubric: self-sufficient. The remedy is calcarea now. So calcarea when goes into syphilitic state, they become so self-sufficient, they don't want support from anybody. And they are trying to give support to others. Okay. Initially they need supports, and in the syphilitic version they give support to someone else. So this is what we need to understand: the love, support and esteem. So in the Sora we have to understand the need. What was that need? So each rubric from the repertory, we have to understand this represent certain need of that remedy, and that need to be understood. Are you getting me? Okay. Second point, the conscientiousness. Sora is called the physiology, and the physiology is called as a homeostasis. So in a homeostasis, everything is happening in the harmonious functional way. When there is a harmonious functional way, that should be in a conscience. This is the right and wrong. So most of time, Sora represent as a conscientiousness. There is a sense of right and wrong. So when the person is defending in a soric way, there is always conscientiousness. So most of time in a camp, sir used to prescribe a remedy based on their conscientiousness or non-conscientiousness. This constitution is conscientious or non-conscientious. So when sir is rule out in certain remedy, so sir is taking this point in very considerable, because their Sora is like this. Very important aspect. The third, Sora is represent as a sensitivity. So most of time there is a sensitivity. Sensitivity become, initially I am sensitive. My senses is active. I have to be sensitive because I need to learn something from the environment and I need to adapt that environment. But if this adaptation has failed, I need to increase my sensitivity to sense everything from the surrounding. So that is what hypersensitivity has started. So hypersensitivity has two components. It is in the control way and it is out of control way. So if it is in a controlled way, hypersensitivity, that is a soric one. And if it is in a out of control way, that is a syphilitic. Very differentiating point in the Sora or syphilis. There is a very thin line between Sora and syphilis. Because something is going out of control is syphilis. Okay, something is going beyond that process or optimum level, it's syphilis. Something is exaggerating in the higher version is syphilis. So this is what very important. So why sensitivity? I need to sense everything, because to survive myself I need to sense the danger. So I need to be alert, but alert in a certain level. If even there is no danger and I am alert, then it is out of control, and that is the syphilis. Okay. So this is what the sensitivity. So most of individuals are sensitive. So sensitive to rudeness, sensitive to criticism, sensitive to scolding, sensitive to punishment, sensitive to least advice. These are the remedy which is very sensitive. So these are the soric aspect. Even the slightest advice make her sad. We have the remedy, William Degree. Okay. The advice, take advice as a criticism. Even the advice was consider that it is because this is the hypersensitivity, increasing the sensitivity to the syphilis. That advice is considered to be criticized. Okay. So same thing you have to understand. Again, if I am so much so sensitive to environment, then it hurts me easily because the sensitivity got heightened to certain level. So the Sora represent at mental level that offended easily, hurt from the slightest joke, hurt from the reprimand, hurt from the rudeness of the others and everything. Even the harsh word or even a loud tone can hurt the person because they are sensitive to. And that is what we have to understand. So Sora represent at mental level this. Why I am going to? Because certain rubric when you came across sensitive to rudeness, it is a soric rubric. Okay, sensitive to criticism, it is a soric rubric. So this is the sensitivity you have to probe into the patient because it is their Sora, and from that Sora you have to go to the evolutionary how this sensitivity to rudeness goes into. Initially मुझे बहुत बुरा लगता था, अभी मुझे बुरा नहीं लग रहा, मैं सीख गई हूँ. That means I have adapted myself to certain level. So I am covering myself that I am hurting, but I am not showing that I am getting hurt. Okay, so that is what the psychosis has predominate the Sora. So we have to understand this rubric. And the reaction. If I am a sensitive and I am getting hurt easily, so what would be my reactions? I started ventilating myself. I started giving reaction to situation, and most of time the human behavior is the cry. What is the child born out of that womb? When it came out, what was the first reaction? First reaction was cry, and that is what the weeping is. So this is what our emotion getting ventilated out because of we are sensitive to everything. So this is what weeps easily, shirk away from the hurt, withdraw from the hurt, and withdrawal automatically. So that is what I need to be sensitive. I am offended easily and I need to away from that. So I need to give a reaction that help me to withdraw from the situation, and that is what a withdrawal aspect started, and that is what timidity. So this is a Sora represent the level of mind. Now what happens if I am sensitive? What I am doing? I am always complaining. So this complaint is something a Sora. If a person says I don't have any complaint, then it is something we have to say it is either a projection. See, person having a diabetes or a person having a hypertension, and if we ask what is the symptom you had, and person says I don't have any symptoms. Since 10 years I had a diabetes, but I don't have any symptoms of diabetes. So this is something psychosis, projection, no complaint, hiding, facade and everything. Okay, so same way, if the Sora is there, what is that? I have a lot of complaint, I have a pain, I have a thirstlessness, I am very thirsty, I am very hungry. So this is something you have to understand. So complaining is Sora. Okay, and the complaining goes out of control. That means the lamentation started with the out of control emotion. It is syphilis. So complaining goes out of control is the syphilis. Okay, are you getting me? So we have understood that Sora represent as a conscientious sensitivity, offended easily from the hurt, joke, reprimand and rudeness and weeping. So now we have to go to the certain rubric, and we have classified a certain repertory rubric into soric rubric. So I am giving you today a list of a soric rubric. I am not going to give you a detail of each and every rubric, but just a list of that rubric. And after the session has advanced, when we have learned again and again, so our aim is that we have to understand the disposition in terms of repertories. So So what is that? Certain individual having this sensitivity in the Sora, they goes into psychosis in this disposition, and they goes into syphilis in this disposition. So we have to understand the dispositions or the individuals. So that is my aim to this session of Repertory. So today I am not going to give you each and every rubrics in the detail, but I am just highlighting the list of this rubric are the Soric one. This is what something Sir has done a beautiful work on the miasmatic journey of each and every rubric. So this is nothing but Sir's understanding. Dr. Vijayakar has mentioned everything in his book End of Miasm. So I am giving you a highlight of the rubric that is considered to be a Soric rubric. Okay. So what are the possible things which will happen? So when this happens, the anticipation started. If I am a sensitive, so what my to survive myself, I am feeling some anticipation. What is happening to? So this is what I don't know what is actually happening to, but this is what my senses has become alert. So it started going to have a anticipation and apprehension to the environmental situation or a futuristic situation. So anticipation and apprehension is the Sora. It is better that I don't go to the extent where I might get hurt. So if I might get hurt, I need to inhibit myself. It is better not to hurt. So the inhibition started. When the inhibition started, it is also a Sora. Okay. What are the possible things which will hurt? So there are a lot of possibilities which hurt me, and that is creating called as anxiety. Anxiety about the future, anxiety about the money matter, anxiety about the many things, the futuristic process. Something is happening. So this is what the Sora has started. So this give rise to mental picture of Sora, give rise to mental picture of timidity. Why? Because of I don't want to hurt myself, I need to inhibit myself. So inhibition has started. So timidity. Timidity going out into public, timidity in front of everyone, timidity appearing in the stage, timidity in exam. So this is what something that inhibition has started. That goes into anxiousness, anxiety about everything. We have a lot of rubric of anxiety, anxiousness. When this anxiety in a control way, it is a Sora, then anxiety goes into out of control way, it may end into syphilis also. Anxiousness, carefulness, being a very careful, being a very conscientious and diligent, I need to be careful about everything. So carefulness, going into self, again going into self is something called inhibition. It is not psychosis, it is inhibition of myself. Okay. Finding a cover, that means like a calcaria. Initially I need a protection from everyone. So that is what the Sora initially. Inhibition, apprehension, anticipatory anxiety, etc. represent at the level of psyche. So Sora represent as this one. Now we have to understand what are the rubric comes into this Soric mental plane. So these are the rubric, the list of the rubric comes into Soric plane. That first is anxiety. We all know the anxiety is a Soric one, but anxiety has a different version. So anxiety goes into anxiety inconsolable. We have a rubric, anxiety inconsolable. The anxiety cannot be consoled, and that is out of control. This is a syphilitic version of anxiety. Anxiety exaggerated. That means this much anxiety is going into this much. This is called exaggeration. So this is again a syphilitic version of anxiety. So we have to differentiate it. But right now I am giving you just a list of Soric mental rubric. My aim of the today is to differentiate it is a Soric, psychotic or syphilitic. The broader classification. Then we have a different classification in the next section. Affectionate. So I need to be a very loving, caring to everyone. So I need to show love and care to everyone. That is a Sora. Ardent. Ardent means I have a zeal to work. So that is the conscientious aspect of the Soric. I need to be in a harmonious way. Ardent. Activity, desire. Again the work. This is the conscience. Apprehension. Something called as something is happening in the future. So I must have a little bit of anxious about that, apprehensions. Bashfulness because of inhibition of something. So I need to be bashful. It is a soric dispositions. Okay. Benevolence. Benevolence can be soric, benevolence can be psychotic, benevolence can be syphilitic. You have to understand the evolutionary process that one must have a feeling with the others. One must have the care for the others. One must have the conscience for the others. Is a benevolence a soric way? When the benevolence goes to get their name on the name plate, we have a rubric. Benevolence recompenses. Okay. So in that a psychosis aspect is going on. Okay. And benevolence, but not taking care of myself, I am going to be benevolence. That is a syphilitic aspect of the benevolence. So it is something that we have to put certain rubric into Sora. But it can be in the variant degree of the psychosis also, and it can be variant degree in the syphilis. So capriciousness means I need something, when the offered I need to reject. Most of the time the children you have found this rubric, and this is something called desire. Desire is Sora. I need something, instinctual drive. I need something, need. Need is at certain level. If need become greed, it is psychosis. Okay. So this is very important. Capricious, carefulness, cares and worries, full of cheerfulness. These are something called as a soric aspect of. Cautious. Why cautious? I don't want to be hurt because I am very easily offended. That way I need to be cautious. So cautious is a soric aspect of. Sometimes cautious can go into syphilitic because of certain fear also. Say for example in Thuja, the Thuja disposition is very cautious. The Thuja child will climb the stair in a very cautious way, because if I climb and I fall, I might get hurt, because the Thuja has the feeling that I am frail, I am made up of the glass and I am easily broken up. So that is what they have to be very cautious. So every packet of the glass, in the packet it was written handle with the care. So Thuja is like care, but it can be psychotic also. Okay, but the initial aspect is I need to be cautious. Carry desire to be complaining, what I have mentioned, that did desire to perform good and useful. Again it is a soric one, because I need to do something good for the society because of my conscience. I need to be useful for the society because of my conscience. And if it is out of control, then it is goes into syphilis. So complaining started with the discomfort. Again it is a Sora. Discomfort means easily hurt. Excitement, expressive, extroverted. So most of time complaining, that means they are expressive one. Okay. The expressions goes into their dispositions. It becomes extroverted. So I has mentioned that extroverted can be a primary or a secondary. The primary extroverted can be soric one. Secondary extrovert can be psychotic one. Okay. So that is what you have to understand. The honest because of the conscience, the hurried because of anticipation and apprehensions, industrial because of the conscience, inquisitive to get the knowledge. So these are the conscience. These are the soric rubric. Irritability, sensitivity. Intellectual, I need to be intellectual to defend myself. Mildness, I need to be mild. Pertinacity, I need to be conscious in the same manner with the pertinacity. That is what a soric rubric. Pertinacity. To stick to someone, or stick to a particular object, or stick to particular process that I need to fulfill that. So for example, if I had a goal to do something, so I need to stick to my goal until it is reaches that. That is called pertinacity. Religiousness, the soric one. When it goes into fanaticism, it is a syphilitic one. But religiousness, this is something that I had a feeling of the God. I need to pray to the God. That is a soric one. Sadness, mostly due to hurt, it is a soric one. Okay. Sensitive and sentimental. Sentimental is the emotional person. So most of the time it is a soric rubric. So these are just a gist of or list of a soric rubric. Sober, sociability, sympathetic, thoughts. There are thoughts, lot of crowding of the thoughts, and the timidity. These are the Sora. This is a broader classification of the mind rubric into Sora. Now we have to go deeper into that. So this is what my aim from the first lecture. My aim to understand the repertory in an easy way. Second, my aim to classify each and every rubric with their version, and third aim is to apply the miasm into rubrics. Okay. Psychosis. Now what we have learned, the Sora represented the mental level that I need to be in the physiological defense. But when the hostility continues, so for example, I cannot adapt to physiological properly. So what happened? The cell, physiologically the cell started feeling fragile and the fear. So what happened? Cell defend by fortifying itself by accumulation or multiplication at the cellular level. Now when we go to the mental plane, what happened? So cell started feeling fragile, it's a fear, so need to cover up. I need to cover up. So what happened? I need to increase my outer wall, lipid layer wall. So hyperlipidemia has started. Lipid layer increase. Okay. I need to cover up. I need to hide myself. In order to deceive the invading agent and protect himself. So this is what every miasm is for survival of the cell. Okay. Keep in mind, this is very important, because if you have keep these things, why this person is behaving in this manner for their survival, this is their miasm. So this is very important. Keep in mind, to protect self, I started deceiving. To protect myself, I started deceiving. I started covering up. I started hiding myself, and that is what the psychosis has started. Okay. So what is the law of psychosis? Law of psychosis is CEO. It is not a chief executive officer of any company. It is something called as cheat everyone. That means I am started cheating everyone. Okay. Why? Because I need to be cover my weakness. I need to be protected myself for the survival of the self. And that is what I started cheating everyone. So to cheat someone, what happened? What is happening in myself? I am so coward to fight. So I need to cover it up. I don't want to show that. I am so fragile and coward at psychological level, but I am not showing that. Okay, so I am cheating everyone. So I am making facade and hiding. I am making facade and hiding. I am showing something what I don't want to show. So I have to show myself by making myself foppish, dandy and elegance. Internally something different. But outer layer, they shows that they have started covering. The new clothing has been used. So they become foppish, dandy and elegance. Okay. They started braggarts and boastering. Braggarts and boaster means I have to make everything in a bigger way. I am projecting something which I don't have. There is boastering. Okay. Because there is an internal fragility. So this is what the Sigmund Freud says, the defense mechanism at psychological is projection. So most of psychosis comes into state of projections. Projecting something. See, we have a projector right now. So in projector lens is this much. But when it reflect on this, it is this big one. So this is what something that this is this or looking this. So something projecting. So projecting is something in a higher version. Okay. So braggart and boaster. Actually, I have nothing, but I have to show that I am a big one. I am a boaster. Okay. Self-centeredness most of the time. So Sora is for love for life. Psychosis is greed for life. More love for life. So that's why they become selfish. They become self-centered, and that is what for everything they want everything more and more. Ye dil mange more. That is psychosis. So to get these things, what I need to do? If I need something, what I need to do? I need to manipulate myself. I need to deceive. I need to see. This is what law of CEO. I need to deceive someone. So for that I need to adopt certain process for the survival, and that is called cunningness. So cunningness started as a greed, and when this goes into destruction, then it is syphilitic. So cunningness and slyness. Why? This is because of I need to survive. Initially my need is compromised. I need to survive. I need to gather that things. So I started cunning and sly. Okay, and that is what the psychosis represent at the level of mind. So what are the rubric comes into it? So we have to differentiate. We have to put this in the will, intellect, moral, sensitivity, and attachment. Now sensitivity goes hiding. So what happened? Something different representation has been happening. So for example, anger. So anger is representation, but anger got hide. What happened? Anger not expressive, and when the anger is not expressive, it is called suppressed anger. This is psychosis. When I have a sadness, but I don't want to show it sadness, then it goes into state of grief. Psychosis. Okay. I am a hurting, but I cannot roll out my tear from the eyes. Again, tear cannot roll out from the eyes. It is psychosis. It is a grief. You can see in the patient's eye, but it is psychosis. So this is what I don't want to show. I am too sly and cunning that I don't want to show my weakness. Okay. So the rubric, the list of the rubric that they, and again something I need to project. So I need to proliferate myself. Okay. Absorb. I am so much so engrossed in something that I don't want to hurt myself. I am hiding. Absorb. Abusive. I am projecting. Don't want to hurt, getting hurt because I am fragile. See why they started abusing others? Because they are sensitive. That's why they started abusing. Otherwise not. Okay. Admiration, desire. So my need become more greed. I need to be admired, I need to be appreciated, I need to be good opinion from the others, I need to be look good, I need to be in a good environment. So that is what my greed started. Okay. Affectation. Affectation means I am showing something which is actually I am not. A false show, and that is facade. Amativeness. So again, the psychosis started with what Master Hahnemann is saying, that psychosis started with the impure questions. So impure questions happen where? Something in the close, hide doors. You know, impure questions. Something happening in it. So it is also cheating. So same thing is amativeness, sexualness comes out it. So when the sexuality is increasing, this is something called as psychosis has started. Amorousness. Audacity. I am not going into detail of the each and every rubrics and meaning, but in the later session we will have to learn that things. So audacity. So internally I am feeling fear, but I need to show that I am very audacious. That is psychosis. Projections. Anger. Absent-minded. Antic place. Antic place what? I need to take advantage. I need to get attention from the everyone. That is what I started mimicking. I started behaving in a certain strange pattern. That is what psychosis. So antic place is psychosis. But when it goes out of control, it goes into syphilitic state. Okay. Avarice. Initially it is a need. Need goes into greed. Greed goes into avarice. Okay. I don't want to spend money. Avarice. Awkwardness. Boaster. Borrowing from everyone. So why I am borrowing? I need to get everything collected. So everything is accumulation and collection. It is also borrowing. So borrowing from everyone. Buoyancy. I need to adjust to something else. It is again psychosis. Why? I need to have to cover my weakness. I need to become buoyant. Okay. Business aptitude for. So most of time all the businessmen are the psychotic one. They have a big potted belly. So this is a psychotic, a big round face. Okay. These are the psychosis. Childish behavior. What is a childish behavior? Psychosis represent two ways. Sir has mentioned very beautifully psychosis excess or psychosis less. So in psychosis less, lack of maturity to certain age, it is a childish behavior. So this is something less. Okay. Cowardishness, something less. Courage is less. conceal himself, hide himself, contented. Why I need to be contented? Internally discontented, but I am showing that I am contented. That is psychosis. Coquettish, to get attentions, to get sexually attracted. So that's why I started making myself projecting. So I am attracting others. That is coquettish. Corrupt winner, always the law of psychosis is cheat everyone, so their moral has been corrupt. Counting, mostly in the money part, they are more money oriented. Now the rubric, what? Benevolence to charitable. Charitable, expectation of recompensation. I need to give this much of money, you have to put a plate of my name in your trust. And that is what the charitable expectation of recompense. Psychotic. Deed feels as if he could do great. As if. He had not done anything. But it is as if he could do good, great deeds. And that is psychosis. I am projecting myself. Internally I am very delicate and brittle. Okay? Discontented. Again, contented and discontented. Both are psychosis. One is psychosis less, one is psychosis excess. Okay? Dullness and sluggishness at the level of intellect. Psychosis. Psychosis is a big topic. I need to take lecture on psychosis because psychosis is a very vast topic. You have to understand accumulation, you have to understand synthesis, you have to understand the synthesis excess, synthesis less, you have to understand proliferations, and you have to understand multiplication at the level of psyche also. So certain rubric you have to understand in a different category. Psychosis is a big topic. You will have another day, I will take this lecture. Desire, longing for the good opinion of the others. This is what greed, need goes into greed. Desire more than she needs. Ye dil mange more. Arsenic is the remedy. Dress best at his. Best at his. That is the only remedy is conayam. I need to be best dressed. Okay. We always say Latina has the best dressings. We always think Calcaria has the best dressing. But the conayam is the remedy. Desire, dress best at his. The conayam is the remedy. Duplicity. What is the meaning of duplicity? It is a slyness. Okay, slyness. That means something which I am not projecting myself as I am. I am projecting something different. That is duplicity. Eloquent, person who started eloquent. We have a good command on the speech. And they started projecting something. That is eloquency. Embarrassment, it is psychosis less. I don't want to face something. I need to be hide myself. This is embarrassment. Escape desire to psychosis less. Extravagance. So extravagance has two components. One is extravagance means I need to project myself as this big one is. Veritram al. And someone has fear of extravagance. I don't need to spend lot of things. And that is orgueil. So extravagance has two things. Egotism. So I need to show my ego. That is psychosis. Facade. Everywhere you need to find out what is the facade. Fear. Feigning. Feigning sick. We have the rubric. Feigning sick. Feigning sick means actually it is not sick. But they project themselves as a sick. It can go to psychosis. Started from the psychosis, it can goes into syphilis also. Because it is a hysterical behavior. Most of time. So initially it started as a greed. And then it goes out of control to the syphilis. Feigning sick. Flattery desire for, we have a rubric. Desire to be flattered gives away everything when flattered. Lycopodium, calcarea, calf, pulsatilla are the remedy. So when you are started flattering them, they give everything. So that is what flattery desire. This is psychosis. Foppish, elegant and dandy. These are in the clothings and their behavior, they started showing everything. Show off. Most of time veratrum alb is the remedy. Patina is the remedy. Phosphorus is the remedy. These are very foppish, elegant, dandy. Finance aptitude for, what is that finance? I need to collect more money, so I need to have adapted myself to aptitude for finance also. This is psychosis. Finery, luxury, clothing wants. So when psychosis comes, every luxury comes. So they have desire for that. I need to be very clean and see. Sulfur, when in the Sora, it is very dirty. When psychosis is become Fastidious about clothing. We have a rubric. Fastidious about clothing. The only remedy is sulfur. It is a psychotic aspect of sulfur. And when it goes into syphilis, racks him riches, indifferent to personal appearance. This is syphilis. So dirtiness is Sora. Then psychosis, it is something that fastidious. Okay, so executive kind of personality comes to you. When you started examining, you say that open your shirt, I need to examine, and you will find beneath that the pores in the undergarments or holes in the undergarment. This is the dirtiness of outside. It shows that it is a very, very good executive kind of personality, but inside it is a Sora, and that is what sulfur is. So faster is about the clothings. Initiative lack of. So there is a psychosis less. So in that psychosis less, I do not start anything because of the fear more exaggerated. So initiative lack of. Inconsolable, again cannot be consoled because of the fear. Gamble, I need to make lot of money. Gluttony, I need to eat more and more. Grandeur desire, I need everything more and more. Groaning and moaning, height desire. Height desire is something that I did not show anything. So in height desire we have a reserve, in height desire we have a secretive. These are the rubric which comes into psychosis. Okay. Hatred. So why hatred? So hatred started as psychosis, but it goes and into a state that I need to go into syphilitic emotions. So it started as psychosis. Why hatred? Because they are sensitive, easily offended. So hatred who offended him, and finally land into a syphilitic state, unmoved by any amount of apology. That is syphilis, nitric acid. Hypocrisy. You well versed this rubric by I had mentioned in last session also. Haughty. I need to show that I am something big. My ego is big. I need to be like this. Homesickness. I am more secure at my home, so I feel homesickness. I need to go to home. This is psychosis. Ideas fixed, because psychosis is everything is fixity. Fix. Because more of the fear. Fear is also fixed. So that is what ideas fixed. To project myself, I need to have one art called imitations. So imitation is there. Important feels is pompous. I need to be important. Okay. Indiscretions. So indiscretions comes out of psychosis, but it may land into the syphilis. Okay. Because of lack of ideas or abundance of ideas. Psychosis less goes into syphilis. Okay. No discretions. Jesting. I need to project. Liar. I need to survive by lying myself. The opium is the biggest liar. Libertinism. It is a psychosis. Unrestrained or sexual behavior. Libertinism. Loquacity. I need to project myself. Well versed in the speech. Magnetite. Desire to be. See, desire to be is something that I need to get energy from everyone. That is what something psychosis. And magnetized amelioration, it is a syphilitic one. I need to desire that energy. That means I know I want company. I need to shake hand. I need to put that hand. But if I get energy from someone else and which ameliorate my ailments, that is syphilitic. So magnetized ameliorative is a syphilitic ameliorations. Okay. The meddlesome. Meddlesome means बीच में टपक पड़ना. दो लोगों के बीच में आ जाना. That is what meddlesome. Medicine desire to swallow large doses of. Why? Because I have so much love for my life. I need to save everything. So I need to engulf more medicine to save that. So that is what psychosis. Miser, again avarice and miser. Mourning, mirth, mischievous, psychosis. Mischievous will take, Dr. Raj will take the whole topic of mischievousness. Muttering. Plans making many. So these are what the idea is there, more to get everything more and more. So that is what plans making more. Rivalry and feasting. Secretive, suspicious and mistrustful. Why? Because I am so much so fragile that I might not get injured. I might not get tormented. I might not get affected by environment. That is what I need to be very suspicious and alert. I don't have to trust on someone else. because they may hurt him, and that is what the suspicious and mistrustfulness comes into psychosis. Ungrateful, psychosis is always ungrateful because haughty people are not to be grateful. So ungrateful, slowness, squanders monies. So they shows that I am spending lot of money. Vertram is the remedy. Okay, selfishness. Again, self-centered and selfishness comes into psychosis. Here, sadness also comes, but this sadness is in the form of grief. In a Sora, it is because of hurt, but it is a chronic, long-standing. It is a psychosis. Okay, talk vivacious. Internally there is a grief, but they shows that I am a happy, cheerful. Again, this is netramure. Netramure is there, vivacious, but internally there is a lot of grief. I cannot show it. Even they cry, they have a red, wetty eye, but tear does not roll out. That suggests that they have a anger and they have a grief, but they cannot come out. That is what netramure is. Timidity, again timidity is inhibitions. So timidity comes into Sora and psychosis, both. Usurer means the lending money to someone else to get the benefit from that. Okay, on the interest. So I am giving you 10,000 rupees on the interest of 10%. So you need to give me back, and that is what a usurer. We have a pulsatilla, sulfur, and 3 remedy. 3 remedy. Pulsatilla and sulfur. I remember calcarea is also there. Vanity. So I need to show that I am a very show off. Vanity is again another show. Theorizing means I need to give a lot of idea to everyone, but not on the base of a scientific ground. It is something that on the intellectual capacity, show off. And versus make. So most of time when they are getting hurt, they started making verses. So most of time you find that the person who have a disappointment in love, and they started going into making the verses of the love. मुझे छोड़ के चली गई, बेवफा, ये सब. I don't think so, but this is what something verses make. This is psychosis because they have a lot of grief and sadness. Okay. Now, the syphilis. So syphilis, how syphilis represent at the level of mind? So syphilis is represent at the level of mind as a destruction, distortion, and perversion, out of control, any emotions. So when the emotions of the man goes out of control, they represent in the stage of panic, anguish, or emotions which control the man. The man has to control the emotions, but here the emotion controls the man. Okay? And the fearlessness. So fear has gone destructed. Okay? And that is what we have to understand. So syphilis represent this way at the level of mind. So syphilis represented exaggerations of any emotions, distortion of the emotions, perversion of the desire, hysterical behavior in the form of emotions, or destruction in the level of will, destruction at the level of intellect, destruction at the level of moral, and that is what syphilis represents at the level of mind. So we will go into a few list of rubric which is there in the syphilis. Let's see. So abstraction of the mind. We have learned absent-minded, we have learned absorbed. Now abstraction of the mind. It is something in the syphilitic rubric. Anguish, the anxiety got exaggerated to the extent that it is going to work. Anguish. Anguish is a pain, physical pain with the suffering, with a mental pain and physical pain. Okay. Anorexia nervosa, it is a syphilitic, destruction of the self. Answer imaginary question 2. Here the intellect has gone. There is no questions, but they answer the imaginary questions. Their imagination has given the answer. So that is what intellect has gone. Destruction. Answers incoherently. There is no coherence between the questions and answers. Okay. Answers irrelevantly. There is no relevancy with the questions. You ask something and they give an irrelevant answers. Okay. Ask for nothing. Again, they goes into their state of despair. Ask for nothing. This is syphilis. Aversion to everything. So when there is a love for life is Sora. More love for life is psychosis. When no love for life is syphilis. So this is something that no love is aversion. Desire goes into destruction. Aversion. So aversion to everything. So most of aversion rubric comes into syphilis. All the aversions, all the aggravations comes into syphilis. Okay? Aversion to everything, aversion to self, aversion to family members, aversion to business. It goes into state of catalepsy, casting of the people against her will. That is the syphilitic reactions. So contemptuous or casting of someone, cut off from someone, it is syphilitic. Okay, destruction. So when destruction at the level of mind, they become cruel, brutal or inhuman. So no human is there, they become animal. So evolution goes into reverse order, and that is what syphilis is. Cursing, blasphemy and profanity. Here the cursing to harm others. It is a necrotic type of syphilitic. Okay, profanity, blasphemy. That's a desire, it is an autoimmune syphilis. Despair is a syphilis. Destructiveness is a syphilis. Detached, it is also autoimmune. Development arrested, it is also syphilitic. Eccentricity, not in the center. It is haywire, chaotic, eccentricity. Okay. Annuitadium, that is what I don't have to interest in anything. Okay. Estranged from everything, that is also syphilis. Euphoria, so when the joy goes into state of higher version, exaggerated, it is euphoria. Why euphoria? Because I don't want to live in this bad situation. I need to go into state of joy out of control, euphoria. Okay. Exhilarations, again the same. Fanaticism, I had said the religious is Sora, but when religious goes into fanaticism, that is to the extent it goes into anarchism or revolutionary, then it is syphilitic. Fancies, so I don't want to live in the present moment, I goes into imaginary moment, I need to get a pleasure out of that. It is fancies. So that is what imaginary syphilis. Okay. Far away as if with the apathy and indifference to the future. This is a rubric for the syphilis, syphilinum. Okay. Fire wants to set things or house on. This is not hover, this is house on. Okay. So I need to destruct something. Okay. Forsake the relationship. Destruction of the relation. Godless, want of religious feeling. Again, religiousness is Sora. Now it goes into godless feeling. No religious, want of religious feelings. Okay. Homosexuality, love for own sex. Again, love is for Sora, but love for own sex, it is a perversion of the love, and that is what destructions. Okay. Hysteria, LGBT. We have this LGBT. Okay, love for own sex. Hysteria, imbecility, indifferent, apathy. So most of all the rubric of indifferent apathy is a syphilitic rubric. Rubric of the insanity and madness, rubric of the mania and madness are the syphilitic one, because it goes out of control. Kill desire to someone as well as self, both are the syphilitic, because one is a necrotic, one is a autoimmune. The lamenting, I said that complaining is Sora, but when it goes out of control, it is called lament. So lamenting is a syphilitic one. Laughing, hysterical. See, laughing is a Sora, enjoying laughing, but it is hysterical, out of control. Anything which is out of control. So whenever you find anything which is out of control, anything which is not proportional to the stimulus, you can directly pick up the rubric from the hysterica. Enter the rubric hysteria and you can have lot of rubric from the mental as well as physical aspect, and you have to understand that which emotion goes out of control. So this is laughing emotions goes out of control. So you have to pick up that, very important. Anything which is out of control and anything which is not proportionate to the stimulus, that is hysterical one. Are you getting me? Very important. Laughing involuntary. Most of the time during case taking you will find that the persons are asking and person is laughing involuntarily. Okay, or person is immoderately. Okay, we will go into differentiation of each and everything in the latest lectures, but this is what I need to first classify them. Okay, lewdness and options. Lewdness and obscene are the syphilis one. Malicious, vindictive, desire to take a revenge from anyone, it is a syphilis. Mania is syphilis. Aversion to marriage. Desire for marriage is psychosis, but aversion to marriage is syphilis. So most of the time right now it is happening. Okay. So everyone is laughing. Why? They are in this stage. That's right. Okay, fine. Masochism. Masochism is something that I am giving the pain or receiving the pain to get the pleasure, and that is a syphilis one, destruction. Misanthropy, aversion to mankind, because we are the social animal, we have to live in the society, and that is what the process. Moral affection, want of. So when the moral goes destruction, they become antisocial, they become criminal, they try to behave like a criminal dispositions, they have a perversion. So in the perversion we have seen psychopaths, okay, and want of moral feelings. So there is no feelings for morals. So they feel that I had done is right, it is not something that wrong, but you feel that it is immoralistic act. Okay, and that is what right now we have a lot of series which comes to our web series having this affections. So when you go to each and every series, you will find these things. There is a perversion, there is a moral feeling want of, or there is a criminal disposition or antisocial. So a lot of series you can see that, and you will find these morals. There is no moral, always destruction of everything. Okay, you have seen that which one? Money heist. Okay, what is that? Moral affection want of. The professor has made everything in a planned way because of they use the psychosis, but in a syphilitic way. Okay, to get everything, money. Okay, but there is no moral feelings. Okay, so this is what, when you see the series, you will have this anti-socials. So most of anti-terrorist movie, terrorist series, you can see that they are anti-socials. They are not socials. We have movie Kashmir Files, anti-socials. Okay, criminal disposition. So these are the series. From that you can understand how the person have adapted their attitude and behavior. So moral affection, want of. Naked wants to be. Again, this can be a series rubric. You have seen a lot of series having this, the feeling, naked wants to be. In normal life, you have to see this as a perverted behavior. Most of time when the adult or old age people goes into confusion of their mind and they have this behavior, or sometimes the child is behaving in a perverted way, you can go into this. Sometimes they go into stage of mania or behavior, they have this feeling. So this is what they don't have understand, that what I am is something. So I don't want to expose myself in front of everybody. But they don't have that intellect. The intellect was distracted and they started behaving like this. Naked wants to be. So this is what something, a deeper version. Okay. Syphilitic. Nymphomania, out of control, excessive sexual desire in the female. Same way in the male, it is a satyriasis. The reactions of anger, out of control, is a rage, fury. Repulsive mood is a syphilitic one. Okay. Children retarded. So we have seen development arrested and children retarded. It is also retarded means so development arrested means in the development process the development becomes stuck, and retarded means the person has achieved something and again go back to this. That is retarded. Are you differentiating both two things? Okay, child born normally, everything was fine. Development has started. He started walking, and after the fever or some neurological disorders, child again goes into non-development. So global milestone delayed. In that you can take retarded children. Okay. Schizophrenia. It's a mental disorders. Sensitive, want of sensitivity. So Sora has a sensitivity. When the sensitivity got destructed to such an extent that sensitivity want of, अब मुझे कोई फर्क पड़ता नहीं है. So we take as a indifference, but again it is a sensitiveness want of. So sensitivity got destructed to blunt senses blunted, and that is what syphilis. Shamelessness. The moral here, moral has gone. I need to be shameful in the society, but shamelessness. Slender dispositions. Okay, later on I'll be there. Strange and cranks in acts and opinion. These are the syphilis. Suicidal disposition. I need to die by suicide. Unfeeling, hard-hearted. So we have ungrateful in the psychosis, but there is no feeling and hard-hearted. मेरा दिल अब पत्थर का बन गया. That is what hard-hearted feeling. Okay. After disappointment, love goes into दिल पत्थर. Okay. That is unfeeling, hard-hearted. Okay. No feelings. Violence and vehemence in the form of behavior. And this is what something called OCD, washing mania, obsessive compulsive disorders. So these are the few slides which I have mentioned as these are the syphilitic rubric, these are the soric rubric, these are the psychotic rubric, so that we can have a classification in a broader way. In the next session we will go in a higher version, that from Sora this represents this emotion as this emotion goes into psychosis, this and syphilis. So that we are going to have a next sessions. Okay. And after that we have a lot of session is pending, that the session on the each and every dispositions with their understanding of the medicines and the materia medica. So our aim is to share the repertory, is to from repertory understanding of materia medica. Okay. So that's all from the today's sessions. Thank you so much for the wonderful sessions, and we will continue our sharing with all of you. Thank you all, and thank you online learners. Thank you.